Good Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversation Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it to the last hump day of the month of August and the last day of the month. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Wednesday. We have a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you'll be part of my conversation with Dr. Jeffery Boone discussing the importance of good and bad cholesterol education. You don't want to miss that. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Wednesday headlines. In international news, Russian media is reporting the ex-Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev is dead at 91. Russian news agencies reported on Tuesday that former Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev has died. The TASS and other Interfax agencies cited the Central Clinical Hospital. Gorbachev's office said earlier that he was undergoing treatment at the hospital. No other additional information is known at the time of this report. In national news, New York to restrict gun carrying after Supreme Court ruling. Amid the bright lights and electronic billboards across New York's Times Square, city authorities are posting new signs proclaiming the bustling crossroads a gun-free zone. The sprawling Manhattan tourist attraction is one of scores of sensitive places, including parks, churches, and theaters, that will be off limits for guns under a sweeping new state law going into effect on Thursday. The measure, passed after a U.S. Supreme Court decision in June, expanded gun rights, also set stringent standards for issuing concealed carry permits. New York is among a half-dozen states that had key provisions of its gun laws invalidated by the High Court because of a requirement for applicants to prove they had proper cause for a permit. Governor Kathy Hochul said last week that she and her fellow Democrats in the state legislature took action the next week because the ruling destroyed the ability for a governor to be able to protect her citizens from people who carry concealed weapons anywhere they choose. The quickly adapted law, however, has led to confusion and court challenges from gun owners who say it improperly limits their constitutional rights. Under the law, applicants for a concealed carry permit will have to complete 16 hours of classroom training and 2 hours of live fire exercises. Ordinary citizens will be prohibited from bringing guns to schools, churches, subways, theaters, and amusement parks, among other places deemed sensitive by authorities. Applicants also will have to provide a list of social media accounts for the past 3 years as part of a character and conduct review. The requirement was added because shooters have sometimes dropped hints of violence online before they open fire on people. In more national news, UN seeks $160 million in emergency aid for Pakistan floods. The United Nations and Pakistan issued an appeal Tuesday for $160 million in emergency funding to help millions affected by record-breaking floods that have killed more than 1,100 people since mid-June. The UN Secretary General said Pakistan's flooding, caused by weeks of unprecedented monsoon rains, were a signal to the world to step up action against climate change. The UN Secretary General will visit Pakistan on September the 9th to tour areas most impacted by this catastrophic event. More than 33 million people, or 1 in 7 Pakistanis, have been affected by the catastrophic flooding, which has devastated the country already trying to revive a struggling economy. In more national news, Mississippi capital, water everywhere but not a drop to drink. Mississippi's capital city is grappling with multiple water problems, too much on the ground after heavy rainfall in the past week, and not enough safe water coming in for people to use. Parts of Jackson were without running water Tuesday because flooding exacerbated long-standing problems in one of 2 water treatment plants. The city of 150,000 had already been under a boil water notice for a month because the health department found cloudy water that could cause digestive problems. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves said late Monday that he declared a state of emergency for Jackson's water system, and he issued a proclamation Tuesday. The state will try to help resolve problems by hiring contractors to work at the treatment plant, which was operating at diminished capacity with backup pumps after the main pumps failed some time ago, Reeves said. The mayor of Jackson, Lumumba, said Jackson's water problem is troubled by short staffing and decades of deferred maintenance. And finally, in business news, stocks post another loss as markets worry about higher rates. Stocks deepen their late August skid with more losses on Tuesday as Wall Street grapples with the prospect that high interest rates are here to stay until the Fed Reserve brings inflation down. The S&P 500 fell 1.1%, bringing its losses in the past 3 days to 5.1%. The benchmark index is down 3.5% for the month, with 1 day left in August. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 1%, while the Nasdaq Composite lost 1.1%. Smaller company stocks also fell, dragging the Russell 2000 1.5% lower. Markets have been weaker since Fed Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell indicated Friday that the central bank will stick to its strategy of raising interest rates to try and tame the hottest inflation in 4 decades. The latest wave of selling reflects a hangover from Powell's speech last week and uncertainty ahead of the Labor Department's monthly employment rate due on Friday. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Good Wednesday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Words I Choose to Live By. Your life is a blessing. Though you might not see it now, try to remember that the Creator of all things saw fit to put you here for a reason. It's up to you what you do with it. Have an amazing Wednesday. We are part of my conversation coming up with Dr. Jeffery Boone in today's Entertainment Spotlight. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversation Daily News. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with Entertainment Spotlight. Dr. Jeffery Boone joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about the importance of cholesterol education. Here's a bit of our conversation. Can you tell us about the 2 different types of cholesterol and why it's important to pay attention to bad cholesterol?
Yes, very good introduction to these thoughts. And the cholesterol is usually divided into 2 types. The most dangerous and the one we're focused on today is LDL cholesterol, the so-called bad cholesterol. There's another type called the good cholesterol, HDL cholesterol, which is generally elevated by healthy lifestyle habits. But the bad cholesterol is our problem, and it's a hidden killer. It develops over decades to cause disease, and I think educating your audience about it is most important to actually being free of disease, but more importantly, be able to play with your grandkids as you get older and that sort of thing.
So, Dr. Boone, help our audience and understand when it comes to known heart disease, what is the connection between known heart disease and bad cholesterol?
Known heart disease is the deposits of cholesterol often causing blockages that can cause chest pain and then worse yet, heart attacks and strokes. The LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, is moving through our bloodstream throughout our life. 1 million beats of the heart every week contribute to moving this cholesterol around, and eventually it develops blockages or problems in the walls of the blood vessels, and over time those develop. The other thing that happens, unfortunately, is we can't feel any of this happening. You know, I wish every time I ate a high-fat meal, my arteries would ache, and I would be warned that I've done something problematic, but that doesn't happen. So it takes a proactive individual, and hopefully your audience will seek information about their LDL cholesterol so that they can keep it at low levels. And then once you develop known heart disease in 30 million Americans, the goals for therapy are much more aggressive. And only about 20% of Americans who have known heart disease are at their goals. So much more attention needs to be paid. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning into this edition of Conversation Daily News. Prepare to get on tomorrow with more news, message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and of course, the Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversation Daily News today. Now let's go make it a great one.